The Pypes Street Pro high clearance catback exhaust is for those of you with a 4-door 2007 to 2018 JK that are looking for an exhaust system that's built out of a high quality material, is going to give you that low, loud exhaust note that you're after, and also clear out this whole area so if you are doing some rock crawling, there's a lot less stuff to bash the exhaust system off of. This is going to be a very easy 2 out of 3 wrench installation, and I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 on the loudness scale. So an exhaust system like this is going to replace everything from the catalytic converter, that collector, all the way back. As it says in the name, this is a catback system, and it's also going to move the muffler from this area right here to along the frame rail where a resonator would be installed from the factory on one of the newer JKs. And what that's going to do is, again, clear up this whole area here, so if you are doing some rock crawling, a lot less to bang off of the rocks. It is going to switch your outlet from the passenger side over to the driver's side, and because you have a smaller muffler and no resonator, you are going to get some additional volume and a little bit of extra noise out of the exhaust. Now, this isn't the smallest muffler that I've seen on a system like this, and this still has an over-axle pipe. There are some systems that will actually dump in front of the axle. So if you get one of the systems with a smaller muffler and that dumps in front of the axle, it's going to be even louder than this system. So if you're really looking to get the most volume and the lowest exhaust note, I'd recommend one of those. This is going to be just a little bit milder than that, so like I said, 3 out of 5 for this system. This is going to be made out of a very high quality material. This is 304 stainless steel, which means you're not going to end up with any rust on this system. If you had one of the other grades of stainless, you can still get a little bit of surface rust. If you had aluminized steel, that will still eventually rust all the way through on you. So this being 304 means that it is going to give you a lot of life, a lot of longevity. Now, even though this is a fairly simple system, it has a muffler and it has all of the piping back to the exit over the axle here, it's still going to be a little bit pricier than some of the other choices because of that high quality material. This system is going to come in at right around $350. Now, when you compare that to one of the exhaust systems from one of the bigger names out there on the market, this is still going to be a bargain. And when you take a look at the quality of the build, I think you are getting a pretty good deal here. I like the quality, I like the sound, I like the way everything fits together, and it is going to be less expensive than some of the other choices. So overall, like I said, pretty good deal. Let me show you how to get it done. For this installation, we used a 15mm socket for all of our clamps and an 18mm socket to remove our transfer case skid plate. We drove both of those sockets with our 3/8 electric impact, and we also used a 6-inch 3/8 extension. For removing all of your clamps and your factory exhaust, you might need any combination of a rubber mallet or a dead blow hammer. We also used a dedicated exhaust hanger removal tool, but a pry bar will help as well. The first step in this 2 out of 3 wrench installation is going to be, of course, removing our factory exhaust, and that's going to come out in 2 pieces. So we have one clamp back here by the muffler that we're going to remove first, then the 2 hangers that hold the muffler in place, and we'll get that out of the way, then we'll remove the other pipe. We're going to use our exhaust hanger removal tool to pop the exhaust out of this rubber hanger. Now we'll remove the other hanger on the other side of the factory muffler. With the clamp loosened and both hangers removed, we can just wiggle the muffler off of the rest of the tailpipe. Working our way toward the front of the Jeep, we'll remove the next hanger on the over-axle pipe. Now we're going to loosen the clamp between the collector and our mid-pipe and then remove our last hanger to get this whole pipe out of the Jeep. Now we'll pop that hanger off. Now we can remove the mid-pipe from the Jeep. We're going to use a rubber mallet, in our case a dead blow, to give it a couple of taps on the resonator here to help it unseat from the rest of the exhaust. Now the good news is we still have the pipe over the axle in the back, and we're over top of this cross member in the front, so even when it does drop off, it's still going to hang up there. Then we can maneuver it out and away from the Jeep. As we were pulling our exhaust out, we got a little bit bound up here. There's a lot going on underneath the Jeep, and we weren't quite able to get it far back enough to drop the exhaust past the transfer case skid plate, so we're gonna unbolt ours. If you're not reusing your exhaust, if it's rotted away, you can just take a Sawzall and make a cut here to make it a little bit easier for you to remove the exhaust from the Jeep without removing the skid plate. But again, we're just gonna buzz a couple of bolts off, drop the skid plate down a little bit, and that will allow us to get our exhaust out. Now we can maneuver the exhaust out from underneath the Jeep. When you have these two exhausts side by side, you can really see the difference between the Pypes exhaust and your factory system. So what you have in the factory system is a resonator up here that's along the frame rail, and then a really big muffler in the back that actually crosses over from the driver's side to the passenger side where the tailpipe exits out of the back of the Jeep. On your Pype system, instead of having a resonator up next to the frame rail, that's where the muffler is. And as you can see, it's not actually that much bigger than the resonator, and that's why you're gonna get so much more volume out of the system. Then in the back, it completely deletes any sort of additional muffler, resonator, anything like that in the back, and the exhaust stays on the driver's side of the Jeep and dumps out just over the axle on that side. So a little bit different as far as the configuration goes, but the biggest thing again is that it has a small muffler where the factory resonator is and doesn't have anything else in the system, so you're gonna get a lot more volume from this. You can also tell by looking at the system that it is made of really high quality material, that 304 stainless that we talked about before. So this system is going to stay looking this good instead of getting some surface rust on it like your factory system does. With the factory exhaust completely removed from the Jeep, we can start with the installation, and the first piece we're going to install is this mid-pipe. So it's just gonna slide over our collector here using one of the clamps that come in your kit. So we'll put the clamp over the top of the pipe and slide the pipe over the collector here. Now we're also going to install this clamp that has a hanger as part of it over top of this pipe, and it's gonna go right here into this factory hanger that's on the frame. So we'll slide that over top as well and get that maneuvered into the rubber. Next, we're going to install the muffler onto the mid-pipe we just installed. Again, we'll make sure we slide a clamp over the muffler first. So the muffler is going to be installed like this when we're done with the installation, but we're leaving all of our clamps loose for now until we get all of the pipes in. So we're just gonna let it swing down. We'll get all of the rest of the pipes in, then we'll go back and starting from the front, working our way to the back, we'll get everything tightened down, and again, we'll rotate the muffler up at that point. Now we'll install this small extension pipe on the back of the muffler that we just installed. Now we'll install the last piece of pipe, our over axle pipe. Before that, we're going to slide a clamp over the extension pipe that we just installed. Then we'll feed the pipe over the axle and get the last hanger attached. That way we don't have all of that weight and stress on all of our new piping, and then work our way back to this second to last hanger and get that attached. Now we'll install our last hanger here, the one just forward of the axle. Now we can go back, starting at the front, working our way to the back, tightening up all of the clamps and all of our hangers. This is where we'll rotate our muffler up so that it's parallel with the ground before tightening the clamps that hold it to the rest of the pipes. Before tightening this last clamp, we want to make sure we rotate the over axle pipe so that the outlet of the exhaust is parallel to the ground. The last thing to do is reinstall your transfer case skid plate if you removed it. And that's going to do it for our install. So if you are looking for an exhaust system that's going to be high clearance and made out of some high quality materials, but a little less expensive than some of the big names out there, I would recommend this choice from Pypes, and you can find it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.